the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in the binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No mic, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune and turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. In shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just a beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go.
The concept of spontaneous order refers to the idea that complex and organized systems can emerge in social situations without deliberate planning or centralized control. In the context of economics, this means that markets are self-regulating and do not require a central authority to function effectively. The free market is an example of spontaneous order, as it consists of millions of individuals interacting and making their own decisions to buy and sell products and services. These interactions, when left unrestricted, can result in the emergence of complex economic systems that satisfy people's needs and wants. Yes, spontaneous order can be applied to modern digital economies like centralized platforms and cryptocurrencies. In these systems, there is no central authority or planner that controls the market. Instead, participants interact and make decisions independently, using decentralized networks to facilitate transactions and create a functioning market. These decentralized networks in turn function as self-regulating systems through the use of algorithms, incentives, and other mechanisms. Therefore, the principles of spontaneous order can be seen at work in modern digital economies. It's worth noting that despite being digital and decentralized, these systems still face challenges related to trust, security, and regulatory issues. However, the underlying principle of spontaneous order holds true in the sense that these issues are being addressed through self-organizing mechanisms and the collective actions of participants in these systems. My theory of prices as information carriers remains highly relevant in today's data-driven markets. Prices serve as a crucial signal in the economy, conveying information about supply and demand, resource allocation, and the value that people place on goods and services. In modern digital markets, data analytics and real-time pricing algorithms allow companies to collect and use vast amounts of data to understand consumer behavior, market trends, and competitor actions to determine the most appropriate prices for their products and services. My views on dispersed knowledge would suggest that when designing AI-driven economic forecasting models, it is important to incorporate a diverse range of data sources and information from various individuals across different sectors and regions. This is because knowledge in the economy is dispersed among individuals and organizations, and tapping into this knowledge through data collection and analysis can lead to more accurate and insightful forecasting. Therefore, AI-driven economic forecasting models should be designed to gather data from a wide range of sources and input them into the model's algorithm. This can be achieved through machine learning techniques that can process large volumes of data and discover patterns and trends. Yes, I would argue that spontaneous order is often more efficient than deliberate design in allocating scientific research funding. Spontaneous order in this context refers to the unplanned and emergent nature of markets and the allocation of resources through voluntary exchange and competition. When it comes to funding scientific research, the market can provide an efficient means of allocating resources to research projects that have the potential to generate value and impact society. By allowing investors and donors to choose which research projects to fund, the market can more effectively allocate resources to projects that are likely to have the greatest impact and generate the greatest returns. The concept of catalaxy, coined by Hayek, refers to the complex network of economic exchanges and interactions between different individuals and organizations in a market economy. In the context of globalized trade networks in the 21st century, catalaxy plays a crucial role in facilitating international trade and commerce. In today's globalized economy, markets and networks are more interconnected than ever before. This allows for the efficient exchange of goods, services, and information across borders, resulting in the creation of a vast and complex catalaxy that spans the globe. The principles of spontaneous order do not directly explain the rapid growth of tech monopolies. In fact, the emergence of tech monopolies can be seen as a result of deliberate design rather than spontaneous order. These companies have been able to achieve dominance in their respective markets through a combination of factors such as network effects, economies of scale, and strategic acquisition of competitors. It is worth noting that the principles of spontaneous order also highlight the importance of competition and the role it plays in preventing monopolies from forming. However, in the case of tech monopolies, the lack of effective competition has allowed these companies to grow and consolidate their market power. In my vision of economic order, competition plays a crucial role in maintaining the health and efficiency of markets. Healthy competition can lead to innovation, lower prices, and increased consumer choice. However, in industries dominated by a few players, competition can be limited and suppressed, leading to market concentration and reduced choice for consumers. This can result in higher prices and reduced innovation, which can ultimately harm economic growth and development. To ensure that competition remains viable in these industries, antitrust regulations and policies can be implemented to prevent anti-competitive behavior and promote a more competitive market structure. My theory of dispersed knowledge suggests that managing big data in economic planning can be challenging because knowledge is dispersed among individuals, organizations, and markets. This means that gathering and analyzing massive amounts of data from various sources and formats can be complex and difficult. In addition, managing huge volumes of data can be costly and require specialized skills, infrastructure, and technical expertise. There is also the risk of errors and inaccuracies in data collection and analysis, which can lead to poor decision-making and inaccurate forecasting. Yes, I would see the internet as a tool for enhancing the dissemination of tacit knowledge, which refers to knowledge that is difficult to articulate or formally document. The internet enables individuals to share their knowledge and experiences with others through online communities, forums, and social media platforms, thereby enhancing the diffusion of tacit knowledge. However, there is also a risk of the internet centralizing information. The algorithm-based nature of online platforms can lead to echo chambers and filter bubbles, where users are exposed to information that reinforces their existing beliefs and biases rather than a diverse range of viewpoints and ideas. Yes, the scientific method can be seen as a form of spontaneous order evolving through trial and error. This is because the scientific method relies on the iterative process of formulating hypotheses, making predictions, testing those predictions through observation and experimentation, and accepting or rejecting the hypotheses based on the collected data. This iterative process is similar to the self-correcting and adaptive nature of spontaneous order, where outcomes are constantly being evaluated and revised based on new information and feedback. Yes, open source software development can be seen as an example of my knowledge coordination principles in action. This is because open source development relies on voluntary collaboration and coordination among a community of developers and users, who collectively contribute to the creation and improvement of software through knowledge sharing, problem solving, and innovation. Open source development, therefore, is a form of spontaneous order where knowledge is dispersed among the participants, who work together to create and improve software products through a self-organizing and self-regulating process. Yes, my ideas on knowledge can help address the replication crisis in scientific research. The replication crisis refers to the phenomenon where many scientific findings are not able to be replicated or reproduced by other researchers, which undermines the credibility and validity of scientific research. My ideas on dispersed knowledge suggest that scientific research should be based on a variety of sources and perspectives, rather than relying on a single authority or theory. This can help prevent confirmation bias and groupthink, which can lead to the replication crisis. I would critique modern central bank policies such as quantitative easing in light of my warnings against central planning. Quantitative easing is a form of monetary policy where a central bank creates new money and uses it to buy financial assets, such as government bonds, in order to stimulate the economy and reduce interest rates. This type of policy can lead to economic distortions and imbalances, as it can create an unnatural environment in the market. By directing credit to particular sectors, the central bank can distort the natural allocation of resources and lead to misallocation and inflation. Additionally, it can also lead to moral hazard where banks and businesses take on more continued risk knowing that they will be bailed out by the government. This type of central planning by the central bank can lead to a variety of negative economic consequences, such as asset bubbles, inflation, and economic inequality. There are some parallels between socialist central planning and attempts to centrally manage scientific innovation. Both involve a centralized authority making decisions about how resources and knowledge should be allocated and used. In socialist central planning, the government makes decisions about what should be produced and how it should be produced in an attempt to centrally manage the economy. Similarly, attempts to centrally manage scientific innovation involve a centralized entity, such as the government or a research institution, making decisions about which scientific research projects should be funded and which ones should not. In both cases, this centralized decision-making can lead to misallocation of resources and stifle innovation. In order to avoid the road to serfdom when addressing systemic issues like healthcare access, societies should focus on preserving individual freedom and economic liberty. This means avoiding excessive government intervention and regulation and instead fostering a free market system that allows individuals to make their own choices and decisions about their healthcare and their finances. Instead of relying on central planning and top-down approaches, a more effective approach may be to promote competition and innovation in the healthcare industry, which can lead to improved access, quality, and affordability of healthcare services. Additionally, policies that promote economic development and reduce government interference can help create a more prosperous society, which can, in turn, improve access to healthcare. Ultimately, the key to avoiding the road to serfdom in healthcare is to prioritize individual freedom, private property, and market competition, rather than relying on the coercive power of the government to dictate how healthcare services should be provided. My arguments against central planning can inform debates on regulating decentralized finance (DeFi) systems by highlighting the drawbacks of excessively regulated financial systems. DeFi systems, which operate on blockchain technology, allow for peer-to-peer financial transactions without the need for intermediaries like banks. This decentralized approach can increase efficiency and reduce the risk of systemic failures in the financial system. Regulations, on the other hand, can stifle innovation and limit the potential of DeFi systems by imposing burdensome requirements and increasing compliance costs. Therefore, regulators should take a cautious approach to regulating DeFi systems and focus on promoting safety and security without hindering progress. The rapid pace of technological innovation does validate my views on market-driven progress. In a market-driven economy, innovation is driven by the profit motive, which encourages businesses to develop new products and services in order to generate revenue and stay competitive. This creates a system in which companies are constantly trying to outdo each other by creating new and better products, which leads to rapid technological progress. Therefore, the rapid pace of technological innovation that we see in modern society is a result of the market-driven economy rather than a contradiction to it. My ideas on competition can be applied to the race for quantum computing dominance. This is because the race for dominance in this field is driven by competition among companies and research institutions to develop the most advanced and effective quantum computing technologies. This competition is motivated by the potential economic benefits of being the first to develop quantum computing technology, as it could have applications in fields such as cryptography, artificial intelligence, and materials science. Therefore, the race for quantum computing dominance is driven by the very same principles of competition and innovation that I have discussed in my work. I see intellectual property laws as hindering the spontaneous order of scientific discovery. My reasoning is that intellectual property laws, by granting exclusive rights to an individual or organization to use or sell a particular invention or idea, create a barrier to the free flow of information and knowledge sharing, which is essential for scientific progress. In a system where knowledge is seen as a common good that can be freely shared and built upon, scientific discovery would be more rapid and efficient. This is because scientists would be able to build each other's ideas and research without the hindrance of legal restrictions or the need for licensing agreements. Yes, I would support market-based solutions like cap and trade for scientific problems like pollution. This approach allows for the use of market forces to address environmental issues rather than relying solely on government regulation. Cap-and-trade systems in particular set a limit on emissions and then allow companies to buy and sell emission permits in a market-based system. This creates financial incentives for companies to reduce emissions, as they can profit from selling their excess permits and avoid the costs of penalties for exceeding their allocated emissions. No, I would argue that behavioral economics does not undermine my reliance on rational individual choices. The principles of behavioral economics recognize that individuals do not always make the most rational or logical decisions, and that there are cognitive biases and heuristics that can influence decision-making. However, this does not mean that individuals are not capable of making rational decisions. In fact, in my work, I argue that individuals are largely rational and that they use the information available to them to make decisions that they believe are in their best interest. My philosophy of freedom, which emphasizes the importance of individual autonomy and the protection of personal privacy, can inform debates on data privacy and scientific research. In this context, it is important to consider the potential implications of data collection and analysis on individual privacy and autonomy. It is crucial to strike a balance between the need for data collection and analysis for scientific purposes and the protection of individual rights to privacy. This can be achieved through transparent and ethical data collection methods, as well as clear guidelines and regulations that protect individual rights and prevent misuse of data. Yes, my skepticism of scientism extends to the use of evidence-based policy in economics. I argue that economics is not a science in the same way that physics or chemistry are, and that it is subject to the same limitations and biases that affect all social sciences. Therefore, I believe that policymakers should exercise caution when using evidence-based policy in economics. They should be aware of the limitations of economic data and theory, and be careful not to make overly simplistic assumptions or generalizations based on the available evidence. My ideas on the rule of law can guide the governance of international scientific collaborations by providing a stable and predictable framework for collaboration between countries. This can help to prevent disputes and conflicts that can arise from differing legal systems and cultural norms. By establishing clear and consistent rules, such as intellectual property rights, scientific ethics, and data sharing, international scientific collaborations can run more smoothly and effectively. It can also help to build trust and cooperation between partners, which is crucial for successful collaborations. My views on tradition and evolution can apply to the cultural shifts driven by scientific advancements, in the sense that cultural practices and beliefs are subject to change and evolution over time, much like biological organisms. Scientific advancements can challenge and reshape cultural norms, values, and institutions, leading to cultural shifts. For example, the invention of the printing press led to the spread of new ideas and information, which eventually led to a cultural shift in the way people accessed and consumed knowledge. Similarly, the development of the internet has reshaped the way we communicate and socialize, leading to cultural shifts in our social norms and institutions. Yes, I would see the gig economy as an extension of my vision for decentralized economic coordination. The gig economy refers to a type of labor market in which individuals work on a flexible, short-term basis, often through digital platforms. This model of work is characterized by short-term contracts or tasks rather than permanent employment, allowing workers more flexibility and autonomy in their work arrangements. This type of economy is in line with my views on decentralized economic coordination because it is based on voluntary exchange and competition in the labor market rather than centralized planning. My advice to policymakers balancing scientific progress with economic stability in the 21st century would be to focus on creating a stable and predictable economic environment. This means avoiding drastic policy changes and abrupt shifts, which can lead to economic instability and uncertainty. Policymakers should also avoid trying to centrally plan the economy, as this often leads to inefficient use of resources and a lack of innovation. Instead, policymakers should create an environment that encourages competition, fosters innovation and entrepreneurial spirit. They should also focus on investing in key areas such as education, infrastructure, and research and development to drive economic growth. I thought that the questions you prepared were well crafted and thoughtful. They covered a wide range of topics related to economics, political philosophy, and scientific research, and they were all aligned with my ideas and work. I enjoyed answering them and appreciate your thorough preparation. Thank you for the interview.
Mics on the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark, unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No light, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Hidden in shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just the beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distraction. distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go. Pure and raw. Pure and raw. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Pure and raw.
Okay.